Hello and welcome to 5-Year Club video number 77. It's March 14th, Pi Day, and in fact the Raspberry Pi 3B Plus hobby board came out recently. And I'm excited because you can emulate all these cool games on it, and the B Plus has a faster clock speed than the B. But we're not going to talk about that much today. We're going to talk about a bunch of random other things, including this comic that I saw this morning. Good soil, warm sun, fresh water, and a lot of love. It takes a lot of special care to keep little old me alive. Oh, please! I'm growing in a sandy crack of cement. They tried to poison me, and it only made me stronger. The moral of the story: in a world full of pansies, be a dandelion. And I think it's funny because my mom sent me this, and she loves pansies. And so I was talking to one of my friends about it, because I sent it to him because I thought the cartoon was funny. And I said, new online persona, financial dandelion. And the friend says, better than grab him by the frussy. And then, of course, that'll be my wife. Yeah, not 100% sure that the frussy is the frugality organ, but if it is, that's fine. Yeah, so also March 14th is the last day before payday. So I started out in my second budget chicken with these boxes being mostly red, and now they're all green because I have been on track with my plan for maximum mustache March. I was able to see, Black Panther on the weekend. Yeah, but that was the only movie I ended up seeing on the weekend. Did not end up going on a hike on the weekend. It was too rainy. It's been rainy a lot recently, which is good because we need the water, but it's lame because then I can't walk. And yeah, so I did a little bit of celebrating today, and I wanted to show you because some people tell me when I talk about saving money, they're like, Lewis, you never do anything, and I don't. Like, that doesn't make sense to me, because to me, I do a lot, and I've got all this cool stuff, and, like, if anything, I've got way too much cool stuff, and so I just wanted to show people that, yeah, I do actually do stuff. I do actually spend some money. Yeah. So when I saw that my bank account was still above $200, even though I had left in zero padding, if you remember, at the beginning of the month, I was like, well, man, if I got over $200, then I can just get sushi tonight. So that's exactly what I did. I walked to the sushi restaurant, which is good for my health, and I didn't have to pay for any gas, and I didn't have to pay for any tip. So that saved me some money on the sushi and on my future health care. And also it was threatening to rain, so yeah, I had to get my butt back home. And there it is. This is the sushi combo, 9 pieces of nigiri from Sushi Arashi on Lincoln Avenue. Oh, and it was good. It was so good. I didn't have like a soy sauce mixing dish, so I used like a little teacup and put all the soy sauce in there and then put a bunch of the wasabi and had my little salty spice bowl. Oh, it was amazing. I'm just going to stare at this picture for another 5 minutes. No, I have to keep educating people about finance. Oh. Someone shared with me today an amazing article on safe withdrawal rates. Let's go look at it slightly. All right. So this is earlyretirementnow.com. The ultimate guide to safe withdrawal rates. Like, clearly the most appealing thing you will read all this week. But look at this. Parts 1 through 23. What? And they cover all this different stuff, and they address all these different concerns from different people. Concerns from Jack, or is it John Bogle? I think it's Jack. I think it's Jack Bogle of Vanguard. And Guyton Klinger. And there's another thing called like Klung here or something. It's amazing. I'm going to read all of these. I'm so excited because this type of analysis is exactly what
I wanted to look at, and they do some really sweet modeling in here. Let's go see. I just want to show you some of the graphs. Oh, where'd the Bogle one go? I'm lost. Yeah, the Bogle scenario. There we go. All right, so like for the Bogle scenario, because Bogle basically says like, yeah, the next 10 years is going to be a bunch of crap when it comes to the stock market. That's what the Bogle scenario is. So they model these 3 different curves for how the next 10 years is going to go. And they say like what impact is it going to have on your portfolio depending upon your mix of stocks and bonds. That's amazing. They've already done it. I'm going to have to read it and summarize it and find out what there is to find out. Even though technically I think the end of all of these parts basically says that our 4% withdrawal rate needs to go down to 3.5. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Okay. So, yeah, I'm going to read through those. I will paste this link in the description. If you are a nerd like me, you will also be excited. And you can look at them, too. It's going to be amazing. I found a really pretty succinct article this morning talking about some discoveries from behavioral economics. And I wanted to read the article because it kind of reinforces what I've been doing this month. So let's start reading a little section of the article. Whatever you do, don't leave your repayments up to chance. Set up an automatic transfer, said Imre Nelms, a senior researcher at the Center for Advanced Hindsight, a behavioral economics lab at Duke University. Research has shown that cutting out an entire spending category, like eliminating eating out the home entirely, or a pledge to buy 0 new clothes, is more effective than trying to lessen spending in various categories. Promising you'll do fewer extravagant things like I'll go out to dinner less this month doesn't work so well, Nelm said. When it comes to cutting out bad habits, it's all or nothing. All right. So I have found this very, very true of me. And I think that fundamentally the reason why it's true is that when we don't force ourselves to cut out spending that we do to de-stress or spending that we do as a coping behavior in our lives, then we can continue using it as a coping behavior. And when we continue using it as a coping behavior, we are not forced to learn new coping behaviors. When you cut a spending category out of your life entirely, you are forced to develop new coping behaviors. And that doesn't mean that the category is cut out forever. It could be cut out until a debt is paid off. If you're already out of debt, it could be cut off for a month. You know, it could be cut off for a year. I've done all of those different things. And in fact, like that's why I'm doing Maximum Mustache March. Because it gives me a month to practice avoiding a lot of these categories. So I've avoided like buying video games. I've avoided buying movies. I've avoided, like there are some really cool pocket knives. I like pocket knives. I think they're cool. This is a really cool one. Oh, see, I do buy stuff. And I could nerd out about the machining and about the locking mechanism for it and all that stuff. But yeah, point is, it's also titanium. That's really cool. Yeah, when you decide to save some money, come up with really specific rules that's black and white. Where it's like, I'm not going to do any of this in the next 2 months because I have identified it as a problem category for me, and I want to learn new, better behaviors so that I can win in the long run. All right, next part. Peer pressure gets people into debt and out of it. Peer pressure can be an effective way to stay on track when paying down debt, Carlin said, especially if it is this kind of pressure that led to the spending in the first place. In other words, if you're influenced by your friends to get into debt, I guess you'll be influenced by some friends to get out of debt too. Ask a trusted friend, parent, sibling, or even neighbor to help. You can tell them, I'm going to get a bonus, and I'm telling you now so that I stick to the goal of using it to pay my debt, he said. Making those types of commitments can go a long way. Numerous studies have shown that an accountability partner or group can help achieve other types of goals. One Harvard working paper from 2017 showed peer pressure was the most effective way to make sure a hospital staff maintained the best hygiene practices possible. Simply telling others I'm working on paying off my debt will usually elicit positive feedback. That can make you feel good. but that nice reward could actually stop you from following through, Nelm said. You're halfway convincing yourself you're there. And I find the same thing is true when people refinance. They think they did something by refinancing the debt. They didn't actually pay down any debt. And the thing that both of these situations have in common, the telling a friend situation and the identifying categories, problematic categories of spending, is that specificity is what gets you to the finish line happy and winning. You need to be specific when you talk to your friend about what you are promising them that you are going to do and what you are promising them that you want to be held accountable for. And similarly, you need to be specific when you're talking about a spending category, about which spending category you're cutting out, which purchases are included in that spending category, and when, if ever, you plan on resuming spending in that category. So get really specific, get really concrete with this stuff, and you're going to be more likely to win. And so for me, for example, for March, I laid out my budget. I said, this is my budget. This is the amount I'm allowed to spend in these categories. And the only reason why I get to eat any of this delicious sushi is because I had money left over from my budget. I was able to stay, at least in my mind, significantly under the budget. $200 is a lot of money. My goodness. All right. That's it for the behavioral economics article. And I did the final thing, at least I think it's the final. Let's go take a little sneak peek. Yeah, it's the final thing. The final thing I wanted to show you is this. Let's see if I can maybe. Ooh. Yeah. Now you can see the whole thing. Bam! I'm a pro. All right. I wanted to show you an inflation chart, and specifically I wanted to show you an inflation chart that did not state inflation as one total number, but instead broke out inflation by category. And I wanted to do this to show you that different categories have different levels of inflation over time. And the bottom line from this chart, right, is we see that wages are right here, right? So in terms of housing and food and beverages, wages have actually increased faster than housing, food, and beverages. So housing and food and beverages, they have gotten more expensive. But if you have been working this whole time, in theory, your wages should have gone up at the same time, and so covering those housing and food and beverage costs should not have been that big a deal. However, for families with two working parents, childcare and the growth of the cost of childcare has outpaced the growth of wages. And of course, wages in different sectors have grown at different rates, so this chart doesn't break that out. But if you have two working parents and you have kids, things have gotten harder over the years, because if you have to pay for childcare because both people are at work, that has gotten more expensive. Similarly, if you are sick, hospital services and medical care services have gotten more expensive. So for two working parents or people who are sick, life has gotten significantly more expensive. Who else is getting screwed? College students. College textbooks, which is kind of crazy because they're books. Like, it's a book. But college textbooks and college tuition have significantly outpaced wages when it comes to the increase in those prices. So, bummer. And who has benefited from the last 20 years? Gadget nerds! TVs are cheaper. Software and toys are cheaper. Cell phones are cheaper. And I guess everyone has to wear clothes. That's not really a gadget nerd thing. In fact, arguably, gadget nerds are playing video games and aren't wearing any clothes. That doesn't matter, but that's a different video, all right? Household furnishings, new cars. These things are kind of like, even. Didn't really go one way or the other. But fortunately, wages grew faster than new cars and household furnishings, so that's good. And there's the link if you want to read the website where this chart came from. And I'm also going to put it in the description. All right, that's it for 5-Year Club video number 77. I hope you found this information useful to you. And very specifically now, I hope that you will set very, very specific goals. And you will tell your loved ones and your friends the very, very specific things you're going to do to get rich. All right, that's it. Have a fabulous evening.